Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode at the Interchange Maker. We come to you every single week, and I try to give you guys the best hand-selected humans that I could possibly find to really show you the real deal on success, on business, and life, really centered in helping you become the most effective person in the moments that matter the most. Today is no different. Our guest today, he didn't even make it into the 12th grade. But he is a self-made entrepreneur with over 25 years of sales and marketing experience and training experience. He also happens to be the CEO of Lightspeed VT. That's TV, spelled backwards. And it is an actual world leader in interactive experience-based training and a communication system. This guy, his company works with some of the biggest names in the industry: Tony Robbins, Damon John, Grant Cardone, who's been on the show. And I've also heard people referred to Lightspeed as kind of like a Ferrari in the learning management system game. He's also the host of the Dropping Bombs, the Bottom Line show. He's a host of a couple different shows, and I like this guy already. Welcome to the show, Mr. Brad Lea.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for being on here. I saw in a couple of different places that they refer to you as the real Brad Lea. I think maybe that's your Twitter handle.
Yes.
I'm just curious, when did you get the nickname the real Brad Lea as opposed to all those fake Brad Lees in the world?
Well, a lot of times I'll just kind of tell people what I feel without a lot of filters.
Because I think transparency is a benefit. I always say that, clarity is gold in a world of chaos. So to me, telling you like it is, whether it's as politically correct as it should be or not, is irrelevant. Sure. I just tell it like it is. And a lot of people used to say, man, you just keep it real. So the real Brad Lea was kind of a nickname for that reason.
Well, I like it, and I like that you're here to keep it real with us, because there is a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise in the world constantly. I was going through a bit of your story, and I usually don't do this on podcasts, but I actually think you'd be a great person kind of take us through. How does someone that maybe didn't finish 12th grade or didn't finish high school, how does someone go and build like a multi-million-dollar, training company that later turns into a SaaS company? Like, walk us through a bit of that journey. Like, how intentional was it when, from the very beginning?
Well, from the beginning, it wasn't intentional at all. I was just a dumbass high school dropout. I was testing out at college level, so it wasn't like I didn't learn anything in school, but
sure.
Got kicked out of my house when I was 16 and a half because I didn't mow the lawn. And I said I would. And my dad came home, said, "You didn't mow the lawn." I said, "I forgot." And that was my go-to excuse. And so he said, "Oh yeah, well, I think it's time you hit the road," and basically booted me out of the house. So now here's a 16 and a half year old kid with a, hot 77 Camaro all souped up and running around town like he's, God's gift to women. And, I didn't have a lot of responsibility. I was kind of a dumbass. And so I decided I need to be a movie star. Like, buddy, I am movie star material. So I'm going to jam down to LA and start auditioning and becoming a movie star. So I quit school like a dumbass.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't until I was like about 30 years old that I decided to build a training company.
So, that's really interesting. I feel like a lot of people at those teenage years, they kind of sometimes will threat or, run away, or like, hey, I'm going to drop out of school. But hey, Brad, you're in a great category because a lot of great minds did not finish high school or college. Between you going to LA and being 30 years old and kind of starting your training company, what were those years like in terms of those development kind of years for yourself? Like, did you want to become like an entrepreneur? Is that what you set out on doing? To walk us through a little bit of that journey.
Well, I didn't really set out to do it. Again, I don't like working for people. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like having restrictions. And I think that ultimately led to me being an entrepreneur. I think entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
by by definition, are people that are out trying to build a business, right? They're
Yep.
entrepreneurial. They do things for themselves.
Yeah.
And I was always like that. So I was always entrepreneurial, I guess. When I was 6 years old, my dad didn't give me an allowance, so I had to go make money. So I'd knock on doors and ask people for yard work and things of that nature.
Hmm.
Learned a lot of lessons when I was younger, about how to be a better person. Like, for example, this guy down at the bottom of my hill, we lived on a hill. I asked him if I could pull weeds. He said, "Yeah, sure, kid. I'll give you a quarter a weed," thinking I was going to pull 10 or 15. So I
Okay.
pulled about 850, came back. He probably didn't even realize I was doing it, but I sat out there for a while, knocked on his door with 2 big buckets of weeds. He started counting them. And right after he counted 800 and change, he owed me a couple $100, keep in mind.
Yeah.
Well, he fired me, and I walked back up the hill with my money, and I thought, why would I get fired? Like, I did such a good job.
Right. Right. Right.
And it was because it wasn't a win-win situation. He was trying to help me out, help out a little kid, make a little side money, and I racked him for 200. Racked him. Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a win-win. You can't create situations that aren't win-win and expect them to last. So I learned
Mm.
that at a pretty young age. So
Yeah. And I
forgot your
mean,
question now, but
no, I mean, the question had to do with like, how did those, I mean, I'm always trying to deconstruct and see how intentional was it for people that, went off and started these, these great companies that are doing so well. And it's like, you went to LA trying to become an actor. But you ended up creating a training program, and then later a software company. So, I wanted to see, I can kind of see where that bridge was for you in terms of, that transition.
well, again, the bridge was, I think, I had a starring role in a movie. 3
Yeah.
days before production, the producer's son got out of a drug rehab, and for that, as a reward, the producer, which is the guy paying the bills,
Gave him my part.
and so now I'm out of the movie, and everyone's explaining to me why I just got screwed out of my part. And the answer was because this guy's the one with the money, and the guy with the money basically makes the rules. And so I thought to myself, well, then I guess I have to be the one with the money.
Yeah.
So when I experienced that, I said I need to be a millionaire in order to
Be the boss of who's making the movie. So I set out to be rich. And I think, my journey was kind of not intentional, but it just worked out. Why? Because I knew inside that I had to be rich, I had to be successful, and I wanted enough money to where I decided what happens in life. I started out in the car business, started selling cars, doing those type of things, ended up selling artwork, so sold RVs. I sold a lot of things. I got very good at sales. And I was running a car dealership, making about $300,000 a year. And a lot of these different dealers from around the country heard about me and the success I was having at these car dealerships.
Yeah.
So they wanted me to train their dealership. And so they would pay me $5,000 or $10,000 to show up for a day. And I thought, well, hell, I'm only making 300,000 a year. I could make a lot more showing up and getting 10,000 a day. Problem
Right.
was I wasn't thinking that even if I was employed full time working every day, I could only make 300,000 a month. So I was limited. And then when I started, I quit my job and went out and started training people. And then when I started training people, I realized very quickly that this is a very inefficient way of training people because there wasn't enough repetition. I didn't have time to practice and role play with everybody that I was training. And so I knew that the training wasn't actually going to stick. Plus they
Hmm.
had plus they had turnover. So every time they hired new people, now it was people that I trained not very well that were turning around trying to train these other people, which doesn't work. And I just, again, I went back to when I was 6 years old. This is a situation that isn't going to last. I'm training people for $5,000 or $10,000 a day, and I knew that the training wasn't going to stick. And if it wasn't going to stick, then they're going to get pissed. They're paying me 10 grand and I'm not training their people.
Mm.
It wasn't what I was training. It was how I was training. It's how most companies train now. They train inefficiently, ineffectively. They don't realize the fundamental requirements to get a trained employee is not, having a 1-day trainer come in and talk for a day.
Mm.
It's an ongoing thing. Training isn't something you did. It's something you do. So I set out to basically create an online interactive training platform for myself because there wasn't anything out there at the time. So I had to create this
Technology for myself so I could actually deliver what I was being paid to deliver.
And it worked so well for me. My company started growing, and now I'm like, wow, this is cool. I don't have to be there.
Yeah.
Still train them. But really what happened is I started running into competition, and the competition, these guys were in love with these trainers. So nothing I could say or do would convince them that I was better than their heroes. So I thought, well, screw it. I'll just go to the heroes, show them the technology, and then take a little piece rather than the whole thing. I'll just take a piece. So I started showing it to other trainers, my competitors. And they started going out and selling these people I couldn't sell because they were in love with them. Make sense?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now,
yeah.
so now I just got a little piece. I call it a sliver to deliver rather than the whole piece. And I thought, listen, it's better to collaborate than compete. So that's when I said, look, I'm going to private label my technology so that it can look like theirs. They'll go get all the people I can't get, and collectively I'll make more. And that's really when it took off. And that's when I started really being an quote unquote entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So now we've got Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, the list goes on, Jeffrey Gitomer, anybody that I think has a big name in the industry of training is probably using our technology to train, because our technology trains people better.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of crazy to hear that story. I mean, one thing that I think, well, one note, I remember reading, you said, you really didn't like working for other people. There's one quote that hit my mind, and it was a quote from Dan Sullivan, and he said, "Entrepreneurs are like the reason you're an entrepreneur is because you're unemployable." And so I'm glad that you said that. But one thing I kind of noticed about your story is that you did a lot of pivots. Not a lot, but you did pivots. Like you made transitions. You have to.
Yeah, too many people out there think that, I'm going to focus on one thing and go after it until I get it. And the problem with that is they're not paying attention to the data and the information they're receiving. I am, on the other hand, doing that on a regular basis. So if you're not making pivots, I think you're going to end up smashed up against a wall. I mean, think about driving down a highway and there's some obstacles in your way, man. You got to steer around them. Like, for example, if I would have kept doing what I set out to do, I'd probably be out of business. And if I wasn't, I would be limited. You wouldn't be interviewing me and nobody would know who I was. Now, that's what a lot of the gurus will tell you to do. Just never give up. Keep going. Laser focus. That's bullshit. By the way, I apologize. You can bleep that out.
No. We're open here to.
All right, good.
Yeah.
But that's bullshit.
You have to pay attention to what's going on in the world. I mean, you have to listen to the feedback and the data that you're getting. I started out as a training company. Then I went to an online training company. Then I went to a software SaaS model platform.
Yeah.
Those are 3 major adjustments.
And if I didn't make those adjustments, I'd still be beating my head against the wall trying to compete with my competitors rather than having them as clients.
I love it. It's like choosing to collaborate, right? It's choosing to partner up rather than, and like you said it, like the sliver to deliver. I really like that. It's creating a bigger pie for yourself, right? And a way bigger arena than what you were doing and competing with.
Absolutely. I mean, they say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
There's a lot of truth in that. Let me ask you this. You've worked with some of the best trainers. You get to see how they run and how they do their training. You've been a trainer yourself, and now you have your own podcast and your own platform. People know the real Brad Lea. What are some misconceptions on training? Because why is it that the world's probably more abundant in content these days, yet people are not maybe achieving some of the results that the book says or the course said? Or do you understand what I'm asking?
Well, sure. Well, a lot of times they don't apply what the book says or the course says, and mostly they don't go through it enough to actually learn the information. So, like for example, school, talking about K through 12 is 12 years. They tell you about your ABCs, I think, in first grade, don't they?
Yes. Kindergarten, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. So how many
early
times did you have to go through your ABCs?
Probably thousands, millions,
okay,
maybe not millions.
That's how you learn.
Yeah.
If you look at the top athletes, why isn't the fact, why do they train all the time? Why do they continue to practice and train? Because training isn't something you did, it's something you do. And a lot of companies and individuals alike think that training is reading a book. That's not training, that's reading a book. You can, I mean, I don't know if you go to church or not, but what church would you go to if the pastor read the Bible once? Like, you have to read the Bible 1,000 times, or the Quran, or whatever, religious, book you follow. You have to go through it a lot before it actually starts to sink in. And when it comes to soft skills, a lot of these courses, I can teach you to do this and I can teach you to do that. So they'll go through it,
and then they'll put it down and say, well, that didn't work.
Well, first of all, you didn't fully understand it. Second of all, you probably didn't apply it. And then third of all, most people don't like to hold themselves accountable. Just like getting in shape. I mean, I don't know if you have a six-pack.
No, but I'm working on it. Like proactively working on this.
Yeah. So look at fitness as an example.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science to get a six-pack.
Right.
Why don't a lot of people have six-packs?
Consistency, or lack of consistency, lack of doing things, nutrition.
Yeah, it's because they're not willing to do the work.
Yeah.
They're not willing to be uncomfortable. Training correctly is uncomfortable. When you pick up a book and you want to learn what's in that book, you have to read it at least 12 to 15 times before it actually starts, sinking in. And then people don't like to hold themselves accountable, which is why I don't have abs and you don't have abs. You got to eat certain things. I'm not going to eat certain things. Shit, I might die tomorrow, man. I want a cheeseburger. I'm going to eat a cheeseburger. But at the end of the day, I know how to get abs. Why don't I get them? Because I don't hold myself accountable to those diets. Same thing when it comes to learning. People aren't holding themselves accountable to the techniques and disciplines they learn. They want a shortcut. They want to think up their own way. They want to, second guess the expert or the subject matter expert or the author of the book, rather than just follow it step by step and hold yourself accountable to doing it every day. An example, if you want to do, such and such, well, I need you to do this, this, and this. Then the person that does it ends up just doing one of those things. And then sure enough, yeah, it didn't work for me. Yeah, I tried the Atkins diet. It didn't work. Well, you probably didn't actually do the Atkins diet, or it would have worked. You can't run 5 miles a day and be fat. Now, some people are going to say, oh, yeah, you can. I mean, what if you have a thyroid issue? We're not talking about a medical problem here. We're talking about the average person that diets, eat right, and runs 5 miles a day will get in shape. But they won't if they do it for a week and then decide, Krispy Kremes look pretty good right now. I've done a good job. I can have that. Just accountability. It's just repetition. Most companies people aren't doing what it takes to actually learn the material. Yeah. And then secondly, they're not applying it with the discipline necessary to actually see the result. Simple as that. And that's another thing, folks. It's funny how everybody wants to act like there's some big secret. There's no secret to kicking ass. Okay? Everybody knows how to kick ass, but it's uncomfortable to kick ass. It's uncomfortable, man. People don't want to be uncomfortable.
there's I love what you're saying here, because if you want to kick ass, I mean, I like that the real Brad Lea is keeping it real. And one thing that pops into my mind is I think someone said it on an interview. It's like common sense is not common practice. You know, people know that they need to, to drink X amount of water. They need X amount of sleep for, peak performance. They know that, they need to get in the proper state to breathe, to actually, figure out, what their gifts are and present that to the world. But yet it's like, it's not that, like, as you were saying it, I was thinking in my mind, I was like, man, accountability and consistency. I was like, it doesn't sound that sexy.
It isn't, and it's uncomfortable. I'll give you an example. You want me to teach you how to make more money right now?
Yes, people watching and listening to this, they want to learn how to make more money. That's for sure.
Now watch. This is magic. Okay. If you apply what I'm telling you, it's magic. Here's how you make more money. Do more of what you're doing.
With leverage.
Oh, that's it. Just do more of what you're doing. So if someone says, well, how do we break that down? Okay, let's say you sell cars, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, people come on the lot and you sell cars. Well, not everybody buys. So if you talk to 100 people and you sell 20 cars, would it make sense that if you talk to 200 people, you'll sell 40 cars? So if you want to make, and you get paid every time you sell a car, if you want to make more money, you talk to more people. Like, well, that's easy. Exactly. It's not difficult. If you make money doing podcasts and you want to make more money, do more podcasts. If you make money selling homes and you want to make more money, sell more homes. People are like, well, that's stupid. No, that's not stupid. That's exactly what it takes. It's called common sense. Now, what you do from that point is you have to break it down into incremental steps and actions that lead to the money. So if you sell homes and you only talk to 20 customers in a month, how many homes could you possibly sell in a month? 20.
Yeah, 20.
You can't sell more than that. But if everybody you sold a home to, you asked for 5 referrals, and then now you've got an additional 100 people to talk to, and you talk to 120 the next month, more than likely you'll sell more homes and you'll make money. To make more, to get more, you have to do more. It's that simple. Everyone's looking for a magic pill. It doesn't exist. Like, bust your ass a little harder. What time do you wake up in the morning?
Me?
Yeah.
Around 7 a.m.
Okay. Why are you so lazy?
I was really nervous saying that. I was like, oh, I'm going to still get called out here.
It's 7 a.m. Well, again, it depends, because here's what I get a lot of people ask me, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do that? Right. I ask them, first of all, you have to define what success is, because if getting up at 7 a.m. makes you happy and you've got everything you want in life, well then, dude, get up at 7 a.m. for Pete's sake.
Right.
Happiness is what we're all chasing.
Yeah.
But people say, I want to make more money. What time do you get up? 7.
Well, get up at 5. You get 2 more hours. Well, I got to get some sleep.
No, you don't. You really don't. You can get 4 hours of sleep a night. It's how are you using your 24 hours in a day? And then guess what happens when you run out of time? Guess what you do?
You die.
No, you make more time.
Oh, you make more time. Sorry, you misunderstood your question.
Like, you have 24 hours in a day. As soon as you run out of time, like, you have no more time. Literally every single minute of every hour is used.
Yeah.
Well, then you need to make more time. How do you make more time? You hire somebody.
You hire, create leverage, build a team.
Yeah, see, you got the answers. Everyone has the answers. People just don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't want to get up at 5. That bed's cozy. Even if they get up at 5, who are they going to call? Everybody else is cozy in their bed. Well, guess what? Then go international. 5 o'clock in the morning, our time, is 5 p.m. somewhere else. It's the truth.
It is. I remember I was in Pacific time zone. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Vegas, Pacific.
Oh, you're in, okay. Yeah. And I'm in Toronto now. I'm usually based in Eastern time zone, but in Pacific, I would be waking up at 3:30 a.m., which is 6:30, 4 a.m. Right. And it was like, I felt like I didn't like that feeling of feeling behind. And we were there for like an event and a conference as well. But I was like, man, it's totally possible. I totally get why some people wake up this early and they are able to establish so much momentum. But it's a perfect example of contextually and headwise, like, you know what to do, you know what the right answer is, but yet when you practice it, you do something different,
Yeah. Or you're waiting for someone to give you permission. People
Mm,
ask, do you need a coach or a mentor? Now, I take things literally. The
yeah.
answer is no. You don't need a coach or a mentor. Should you
Oof.
get one? Absolutely. Do you
Yeah.
need one? Hell no. You don't need anything. You need to take action. You need to listen to what's going on, pay attention, and do the work. And you need to be uncomfortable. I don't know of anybody wealthy that's comfortable. You think they're comfortable because they're driving the Ferraris and they're flying in first class and they have these big ass, kick ass houses. Well,
Yeah.
guess what, dude? I don't see my house very often.
Mm,
It's a kick ass house, but I don't see it. I'm not lounging around my house all day. I'm there to, sleep, play with the family. Now, again, what does that tell you? That tells you that in order to get comfortable, you have to get uncomfortable. It's
mm,
not comfortable for me getting up at 5 a.m. It's not comfortable going to the gym. It's not comfortable eating what I eat. Well, and I just started that, by the way, because I got a little fat. You know why? Because, I wanted to be comfortable. Like a cheeseburger, dude, that's comfortable.
yeah.
Packing your meals, prepping your meals, it's not comfortable. Well, guess what?
Go look at all the dudes with abs. I'll bet you 50.
$50 they're on a prep meal plan.
Yeah.
I bet $50 they're at the gym no matter what. They're hungover, so what? Go to the gym. They show up no matter what. They do what it takes, and that's why they've got those bodies, because they're uncomfortable.
Mm,
The rich people, same thing.
They're rich because they're doing what they don't want to do. And what's
mm.
funny is most people want to get rich so they can do whatever they want.
And they don't realize that in order to get rich, you have to do what you don't want.
So would you say that that is a huge thing that's holding a lot of people back? Because even though you think that, a lot of people are like, oh, once I'm at a certain level, I'll be good. There's like that type of thinking. Whereas people that are relatively successful and rich, like, they don't have that thinking. They're focused on, what's a bigger vision, right? Like, what's something bigger that drives me.
Yep. It's 100% true. I remember when I thought $1 million a year, I cannot wait. It'll be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And, now $1 million a month would disappoint me. So it's like, well, that just means you're never satisfied. No, that doesn't mean I'm never satisfied. I'm quite satisfied with what I've done, but I'm not where I'm going. So it's just like when you get up in the morning to go to the bathroom.
Mm.
Why don't you just stop in the kitchen and take a piss? Well, it's because you're heading to the bathroom. You know that's where you want to go. That's where you need to go. Why don't you need to remotivate yourself all the way down the hallway and through the house? Like, you get to the kitchen, should I take a piss here? Nah, let me keep going. How about here in the living room? Nah, let me just keep going. Pretty soon you end up at the freaking bathroom where you were heading to go in the first place. And people say, well, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay motivated? Pick where you want to go. And when you get there, $50 says you're going to want to go to the next room,
To the next thing. Right.
the next spot.
Yeah.
See, and now nothing we've talked about today is magic. Nothing we've talked about so far is oh wow, that's the greatest technique ever. And everybody already knows what I'm saying. Your listeners are going to be like, dude, this guy's like, this isn't rocket science, but it's true. Like, if you're listening to this and you're not making enough money, do more of what you're doing right now. You'll make more money. Now, eventually you're going to get to a point where you can't do any more, but you want more money. Hire somebody and have them do what you're doing and pay them less than you're getting. And then do it again and again and again. And pretty soon you have a company with 500 people and you're making all the money, and everyone's going to go, how'd you do it? How'd I do it? Like, you just do it.
I felt like I should have had a mic here. Like, there was like a mic drop moment in there.
Well, again, when I go on stages and do my speeches, which aren't really speeches, they're more talks.
Yeah.
But when I do them, I always get off stage and I think, that was stupid. Like, all I said was the basic common sense stuff.
Yeah.
And people go crazy. Like, I did the 10X growth conference.
Yep.
And I said, here's the 5 factors to success, guaranteed success if you do these 5 things. The first thing you need to do is take a chance, right?
Okay.
Can't be afraid. You got to take a chance. You got to take action. So if you take a chance, that's step 1. Step 2 is you need to be really good at solving problems. Okay. You're going to have problems. Get good at solving them. What do most people do? They run from their problems. They hide, they ignore. Problems don't go away. They just get bigger. Get in the habit of solving problems and getting really good at it. The way I did it is I didn't look at them as a problem. I looked at it as a game, as a challenge. I like Call of Duty. You know, I like Xbox. So to me, it was just a game. Here's a problem. How do I win?
Right.
The third one is make adjustments. Okay. You got to make adjustments. You can't just keep pounding your face against the wall, expecting the wall to come down. Now, step 4 is train your ass off. Like, pick up books and go through it a million times. Listen to people that have already done what you're trying to do. Get some information, man. Learn. The more you learn, the more you earn. And then the 5th one is never give up. You know, one time back when I was doing acting more, I got a role in this show called Knots Landing. It's probably before your time. Anyway, actor named Alec Baldwin was in that TV.
Yeah.
This is when Alec just started out. So there was a break in filming. So I just walked down with Alec to this little restaurant where we got something to eat. And I asked him, give me some advice. Give me some advice. Like, what can I do? What's the secret to being a star? And you know what he said? He said, dude, you know how when you're at a grocery store, you get in line for, let's say you have a gallon of milk and you get in line and then you look over and the other line's going quicker. So you jump over to that line. And then as soon as you jump to that line, like it kind of slows down and the line you were in starts moving quicker.
Right.
He said, dude, just get in line and stay there. And eventually you'll get up to the cashier to buy your milk. And it just resonated. Like all he's saying is just keep going. Like just keep going. Don't stop. And by the way, that doesn't mean don't make adjustments. It means never stop going after what you've decided that you want. If you want abs, never stop going after them. One day you'll have them. You might have to change your diet. You might have to change your trainer. You might have to change your exercises, but you'll get abs if you really want abs. But the biggest thing I would say to anyone listening to this is figure out what it is that you do want, because most people, they don't even know what they want.
And I can tell you, it's easier to get what
you want than it is deciding what that is. Like most people don't know what they truly want. And I'm talking about in detail. You have to understand what makes you happy. What is success? I have a saying that was quite popular, and it basically said,
there is no key to success. It's a combination. And it shows a little combination lock because everyone's always looking for the key.
Yeah.
Like, there is no key, bro. It's a combination.
Right.
And the reason why it's a combination is because what makes you happy and what makes you successful might make me think you're a loser and vice versa. Like, what do you consider rich might be nowhere close to rich to me and vice versa. So what makes me happy and what makes me successful is not going to necessarily make you happy and make you successful. So you have to decide, what is it that you actually want? What does success look like to you? Because getting up at 7 a.m. may look successful to you, but it makes me think you're lazy. I mean, by 7 a.m., dude, I get more done by 7 a.m. than most people get done all day.
I appreciate the call out. I do.
In 2 hours when you wake up in the morning, there's so much you can get done. You can read a book, you can train, you can get stuff out of the way. So it comes 7 a.m., your rubber's hitting the road. I mean, you're running and gunning at 7 a.m. You're rolling out of bed at 7 a.m., scratching your head, heading towards the mirror, deciding what you want to do. I mean, you could have had that knocked out hours earlier. Why don't you get up earlier?
Well, I'm like I'm inconsistent in this specific, the waking up thing. But
see what I mean?
No,
you
don't
hold yourself accountable. Like, hey, there's people relying on you.
No, and I was gonna say, like, I should make this like a challenge, like for whenever people are watching or listening to this, I'll reference this point as like, okay, this was like someone calling me out and just saying, hey, like I could wake up and make that commitment of waking up earlier.
Well, do you feel that you've achieved everything you want to achieve?
No, like not even close.
Okay, so if you haven't reached success, start with getting your ass up 2 hours early. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable,
Yeah.
bro. But you'll see how much you get done, and you'll start realizing, holy crap. And not only that, after a couple of weeks, guess what? You'll start waking up at 5 a.m. without even an alarm. So then all of a sudden you get up and you'll get so much more done, and you'll have so much more going on, and you'll have so many more opportunities, and you'll be like, dude, all I did is got up 2 hours early.
Yeah. But over the week, that's like 14 hours extra. Even work week, it's still 10 more hours, right? It's like 10 more hours to create magic and do what I do, right? So,
and then go to bed 2 hours later. When do you go to bed?
Around midnight-ish, like 11 midnight. I could be a little better.
Yeah, me too.
So again, if I want to create more time, guess what? I either get up earlier or I go to bed later.
Yeah.
Or I hire somebody.
Yep. Yeah. No, I appreciate, for people that are listening, watching this, I mean, make sure to go follow Brad Lea, because he's telling you the steps that you need to take. I appreciate you sharing those 5 steps, taking a chance, looking for problems to solve, because I mean, that's how you're able to make adjustments. Number 3, right? You found pain points for different people. You found pain points in your own industry and transition, and then was able to make your business a success. You trained your ass off. I love, out of curiosity, you said read books 12 to 15 times. What are some of your, this is like such a typical podcast question that I actually really rarely ask it, but what are some books that you've read 12 to 15 times? Because I was started thinking, what are books that I've read 12 to 15 times?
And what's the answer?
Don Miguel Ruiz, the 4 Agreements. Yep. Think and Grow Rich. There was a period when I went over that like at least 3-4 times.
By the way, did you learn something new each time?
Yes. I mean, like the 4 Agreements, Grant Cardone, 10X. I just have it on my phone. Like I just
you only read that one 10 times.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a few, right? But I was like 12 to 15 times. Wonder if Brad has any, good suggestions or books that you've kind of gone back to.
Well, unfortunately, growing up, I was one of those people that didn't read books and I didn't seek out information. It's something that I would change if I did it all over again, and I would have been successful a lot sooner because I learned everything the hard way. In fact, I'm writing a book right now called The Hard Way. It's basically, should I learn the hard way so you don't have to? But what I did learn is, without repetition, you're not really learning. So since I've discovered this, I've started actually seeking out information and books. And now, the books I used to read was, Think and Grow Rich. Of course, I read that one a couple times. Wasn't enough to apply it because guess what? I didn't think grow rich. And by the way, that book, if you ask anybody, it works. But man, you have to be religious about the techniques. I'll ask you a question. How many principles are in Think and Grow Rich? See, you didn't read it.
No,
There's 16. There's 16. What's the third one? You don't know, do you? Because you didn't read it enough. It's not internalized. It's you only exposed yourself to the information, which is why it's not working for you and thousands of others. But there's people that it did work for. Ask them how often they read that book. Ask them what the 7th principle is. They'll know. There's
sexual transmutation.
That's 12, I believe.
That's 12. You know what that chapter talks about?
I probably should reference Think and Grow Rich and this. I have notes on it, but yeah, you're right.
See, dude, you just used. I mean, you are the perfect example of your first question.
And by the way, it's not just you; it's me, it's companies.
No, I know.
It's Tony Robbins. All of them do it.
The question is, to what degree? Now, a lot of us are more lazy than most. Tony Robbins, I've been to his house. The guy's a machine. He's up at midnight working on things. He doesn't go to bed till 2 or 3 in the morning. If you ever went to his seminars, the guy talks the whole day for 4 days straight. He gives so much value in his talks. He's actually trying to help people. Grant Cardone will call me at 2:30 in the morning and say, who can we sell something to? And I'm like, bro, it's 2:30 in the morning. He says, I know, that's why I'm calling you. I knew you'd be home. So it's like these people that are getting these massive amounts of success really are putting up this kind of,
Yeah.
resources and time and energy. And it's not comfortable, bro. You gotta be prepared to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you have to continue to do it for an ungodly amount of time. I mean, when I started Lightspeed, it was 2000.
Yeah.
It's 2017. It's almost 2018.
18. Yeah.
I feel like I'm an 18-year-old startup. I mean, it's unbelievable how long it's taken me to get where I am. And then I look back and it seems like it's been, 80 days, 90 days. I do have a method if you want me to explain to your readers how do you get anything you want in 90 days.
Sure. Hit us with the method.
Here's what you do.
Is a secret pill. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen.
And listen close, because I'm telling you, this is guaranteed to work.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to do it step by step.
Okay.
First thing you need to do is determine what it is that you want, because you have to know what it is that you want before you can go. Right?
You got to choose. Yeah.
So step one, determine what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to teach you how to get it in 90 days. You look down and you bust your ass for 90 days. And you look up and you either have it or you don't. Now, if you don't, look back down and bust your ass for 90 more days. And look up and you'll either have it or you won't. And if you don't, back down and bust your ass for 90 days. And then you look up and you either have it or you don't. If you don't, what do you think you do?
You look down and you continue to bust your ass.
You put your head down and you bust your ass for 90 days. Now, at one point, you're going to look up and what you wanted will be right in front of you. You will have attained it and it will be within 90 days. The question is, will it be in one 90-day cycle or 1,000?
See, most people give up right when they're about to hit something.
So if you just think in 90-day increments and you go after it with all your might for 90 days and you look up, just start the 90 days over. And in one of those 90-day cycles, you'll get it. I guarantee you that's a fact. Or you'll die. And if you're dead, then who cares? Not who cares you're dead. Who cares you didn't get it?
Right.
But at the end of the day, you will get what you're looking for in those 90 days. And that's how I built Lightspeed. When I started, I thought I was going to be a millionaire within 90 days. And in 90 days, I was like, man, I didn't get to $1 million, but I'll tell you what, in 90 days from now, shit's going to be blowing up. I mean, I've got so many deals working. I've got everything rolling. I just need 90 more days. So in 90 more days, guess what? I had 10 times the things working, but I still wasn't a millionaire. So I thought, damn, dude, 90 days from today is when it's going to break loose. 90 days, 90 days, 90 days, 18 years later, bro, I can tell you right now, in 90 days, there's going to be way more shit going on than there is today. And one of these 90-day cycles, I'm going to say our company's worth or doing $1 billion, because that's what I set out to do. Then I'm going to go make movies.
Hey, I like that you never give up. The last principle. You never give up on your dreams and making it happen. Brad, I really appreciate getting called out and you giving us very, very tactical knowledge in terms of doing all this. And I feel like people have literally turned this off, or they're not listening to this because they're so like, I'm going to go and I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to get to work. Right. I know I'm feeling a little bit like that. Brad, where can people socially stalk you in the best of ways? I know you got your podcast going.
I've got a podcast out, Dropping Bombs. You can go to droppingbombs.com.
Yeah.
That was available. I have a show. It's not really a show. That's another thing that makes me laugh is everybody with their shows, and they're not even shows. They're just videos on YouTube. But I've got a little YouTube show called Bottom Line, which is basically 2 to 3 minute clips on various things, entrepreneurial based and otherwise. Or you can just follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. Those are the main ones I mess with. The real Brad Lea.
The real Brad Lea kept it real. Called me out a couple times and made me look at it. But it is great because if you don't have people in your life calling you out, like, first of all, you need people in your life to do that.
Not only that, who's the only person here that can change you?
Me.
That's right. That's why this is the Interchange Maker, my friend.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do can change you. You have to change. You have to decide to get up earlier if that's what you want. And again, I know people that are like, dude, I'm quite happy getting up at noon. Well, if you're happy, don't change a damn thing, man, because that's all anyone's chasing is happiness. And if you're happy getting up at noon, eating cheeseburgers, making what you're making, then don't listen to anybody, and don't worry about someone else is driving a Ferrari and you're not. If you're happy, you've already made it, because that's what everybody else is going after, is happiness. And the only way to do it is you, that is why I like this podcast. Interchange Maker, man. Any change has to come from you.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you one last question, Brad. The show, I mean, you referenced it, the Interchange Maker. What comes to your mind? Like what images or words, what comes to your mind when you hear the word change maker?
What I see, like, for some reason, like a metamorphosis, meaning, you are what you are until you make that change. When I was real young, I used to lie. Like, I told all my friends in the neighborhood that my dad owned Disneyland, and I used to bring out the Monopoly board deeds.
Yeah, right.
To try and convince them that those were our properties. And I think it was because we had a house right smack dab in the middle of a bunch of nice houses. And, we had a doctor over here, and a guy that owned a chain of grocery stores over here, and a guy that was very successful over here. But our house was like this little shit box. And I didn't feel like we were worthy of being there. And I felt like I had to be equal to them in order to be accepted. So I tried to lie. And what happened was it backfired. I mean, obviously they knew I was full of shit. They knew I was lying, and it backfired. Nobody liked me. Nobody wanted to play. Nobody wanted to hang out with me. I remember asking this girl if she wanted to go be my girlfriend. And she said, yes, but don't tell anybody, because they didn't want to be known being with me. And the reason why is because I was lying. And again, like I said, I learned a lot of lessons the hard way. That was one of them. But you don't lie. So in order to make that change, man, I had to feel the pain. And unfortunately, it usually takes pain for someone to change. The reason why you're not getting up is because, dude, you're comfortable, are you not? You're comfy.
Part of it, but it's trying to have that, that vision that says, hey, I know where I need to go, and I know that what we're doing, like, we need to do more of it, right? Period. To get there. And that's why, like, I'm obsessed right now with building a team, with creating leverage, to get there. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a bit of comfort there coming off of summer and all of this, vacationing, all this kind of stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. People choose comfort over their goals. So like, or you know what? I'm not going to die tomorrow. I might as well just get up at 7 and roll through the day. It's working for me. Like right now I get up at 5. How come I'm not getting up at 3? Well, because getting up at 5 is working for me. But I promise you, if I got up at 3, I'd be more successful than I am at 5. It's all about time, bro.
You would have to go to sleep at like 9.
Well, you know what?
When I look at what I'm doing at 10, 11, and 12, I'm watching frickin' Game of Thrones.
Right.
I'm not doing anything productive. I could go to bed earlier, but you know what? I don't want to not watch Game of Thrones. I'm choosing Game of Thrones over more work. That's the bottom line. Now, I'm also not complaining that I haven't gotten where I wanted to go. I'm quite happy with what I'm doing and how I'm creating it. Could I accelerate it? Yes, but again, I'm pretty happy with what's going on. Like, dude, I'm stoked. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, dude, I got it good. Yeah. I created what I have, and I created exactly what I wanted. Now, the only other choice and by the way, when it boils down to it, it's all about choices, man. The choices you make is literally how easy it gets. You show me someone who has a messed up life, I'll show you someone who makes shitty choices. Now, again, there's always an exception to the rule. I always get the hate mail where people are like, what about the guy that, was abused and chained to a pipe? I'm not talking about the exception. I'm talking about everyday people, man. The choices they make determine the road they take. If you're driving a shit car, living in a shit house with shit friends, you made those choices because you only get what you tolerate. If you don't tolerate it, you won't get it. If you tolerate a shit car, that's why you have a shit car. Because if you wouldn't tolerate it, you're like, I'm not accepting a shit car. You'd either have no car or the car you want, but you accepted it. You tolerated it. So at the end of the day, it boils down to choices. I'm rambling now because I forgot this is a podcast. I'm just chit-chatting with you. But the people make, man, are so important. And if you want to get a better life, start making better choices.
And you know, Brad, we appreciate Brad Lea, the real Brad Lea, coming and telling it how it is, but you also being a great example of a change maker, you making those tough choices and choosing what you want over and over again, whether we call them adjustments, pivots, or what have you. But you know, you're right. You know, success leaves a lot of clues, and a lot of times it's the unsexy thing that we have to do. The accountability, the consistency, the willingness to get up early, and just push to be where we are. So I applaud you for, you know, just want to take a few seconds and say that for coming on the show and for telling us how it is, telling me how it is. I got to do like a follow-up episode with you, like from like, I don't know, 6 months out or a year out, just to hold myself accountable and be like, well, what time, you know, where's my business at now? Well, you know, how, you know, what am I doing now? And am I happy with that, right? But I love the 90-day thing, and I think I really, really appreciate your time and all the thoughts that you had coming on to the show.
Well, man, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Nice to meet you. And anytime I can,
you know, you want me back, let me know, and we'll get it scheduled.
Hey, we'll do something for your book. That's what we'll do, and we'll talk about some of those hard lessons or mistakes or learnings.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of gold there.
Yeah, there is. One of them is about patience, man. People tell you to have patience.
patience.
Yeah, I'm working on that. We'll save that for the next episode. But for people that are watching this and listening to this, thank you for tuning in. We come at you every single week, and to help you elevate, become a better change maker in your own life so you can impact those closest to you. And make sure, don't just listen, but actually go out and apply, and maybe try to beat me at waking up a little earlier. All right, guys, we'll see you guys next week.
Hold on. And then make sure you guys go rate and share this podcast.
Yeah.
Rate and share it. Make sure you rate it. I want to see a rating, comments. Come on, man.
Yeah, you got to go let the real Brad Lea know. He's the real Brad Lea on all the social media channels. I'm going to link everything in the show notes. Appreciate you guys for watching and listening. We'll talk to you guys next time.